Hello my dear students and welcome back to Excellence Batch, and I am your Diksha ma'am, and here we have started the chapter strategies for enhancement in food production, that how can you enhance the food, because population is growing and you need a lot of food. Fine. So in this chapter, as I've told in the previous class also, we have two subjects. One part is from botany, another is from zoology, and I am taking the zoology part, as you all know. So in the previous class we have covered about animal husbandry. What is animal husbandry, what is dairy farm management, what is poultry farm management, and how we do animal breeding to enhance the quality of the animals, right? So all the animal breeding technique that we have done in the previous class, this was a natural method of improving the quality of organisms. Now we have some controlled breeding experiments as well, or we can say artificial experiments, by which we can easily control the quality of the progeny. How? Let's see. So in controlled breeding experiment, the first one we have is artificial insemination. So our purpose is to enhance the quality of the progeny. We want that whatsoever animals we have should be of high quality. That means what properties they should have. The females should be high milk producing, the male should be disease resistant, they should be strong enough, right? So what we do in the artificial insemination, we take the semen from a bull, right? So imagine this is a bull. Okay, so this is a bull, though it looks like a cat, but it's a bull. So from bull we extract semen, and that semen is then deposited into number of cows. So bull is just single one. From one bull semen you can inseminate a number of cows. I hope you all understand what's insemination. If you don't know, let me tell you, we have also done that in reproductive health chapter. What we do, we take the semen and we put it artificially in the vagina of the female, right? The semen from the male is taken. Semen is a substance that is taken from the reproductive organs of the male, and that contains sperm. So we are artificially inseminating the sperms in the female's body, so that first of all the benefits are achieved. First, because this bull is high quality bull and the cows, they are also high quality cows. Second, from just one bull you can inseminate a number of cows, right? Third benefit is that it's less time consuming work. In normal breeding, natural breeding technique, it's a cumbersome process and it takes a lot of energy of animals and the one who are undergoing breeding, obviously. So this method is comparatively easier. Second, the bull, if is from far place away, you can just extract the semen and then you can make it transport to the other areas as well. So this is a benefit of artificial insemination. It's not the natural breeding technique, it's artificial one, where you are artificially inseminating semen into the female's body. So what do you do in the artificial insemination? The semen is extracted from a bull and deposited into female's vagina artificially. So what are the benefits of this technique? First, semen can be transported easily. You can transport it anywhere, even from one country to another, but with some legal requirements, okay, are there. And otherwise, another is one bull can inseminate number of cows. And third benefit is that here it's a easy process than the normal breeding, easier than natural breeding. Fine. So this is one artificial technique by which you can choose the good cows and the good bull and you can artificially inseminate them. The second technique in the control breeding experiment is MOET. MOET. Multiple ovulation embryo transfer. Multiple ovulation embryo transfer. So what we do in this technique, again, we take a high quality cow. So imagine this is a high quality cow. So what should be the properties of a high quality cow? The first property a high quality cow should have is high lactation power. The milk she is producing should be more and nutritional. Fine. And another property, the cow should be disease resistant. Now what we do? First of all, we choose a high quality cow and give injection to the cow. This is an injection. This injection contains FSH like hormone. Okay. So if you give FSH to the cow, the ovaries will be stimulated. Imagine this is the ovary. And in one ovulation, the ovary will produce 6 to 8 eggs. What are these? Eggs. Okay. So what we did, we give injection to the cow because this cow is the one that you need. Okay. And the ovaries will be stimulated and ovaries will produce 6 to 8 eggs in one go. Okay. So now what we do? We extract the eggs. Extract eggs. Now what we do? We perform IVF, in vitro fertilization. In the in vitro fertilization, we put egg and sperms together in a petri dish. Imagine this is a sperm and this is an egg. We put them together in a petri dish and hence we form zygote. But in the artificial condition outside the body of the female, and that's how you call it as in vitro fertilization. In vitro means outside the body. After that, the embryos will be formed and 8 to 32 cell embryo will be transferred into the surrogate cow. Okay. So now we will transfer the embryo into the surrogate cow. Surrogate is someone who is not the biological mother, right, but is carrying out the entire gestation and pregnancy. Now, why didn't we perform the pregnancy here? Because if we perform the pregnancy here, then further she will not be able to mature her eggs. But we want the babies of this cow, the eggs of this cow. So we will keep this cow for producing more and more eggs so that we can have the progeny of this cow because she is the high quality one. But rather the other, which are the poor quality cows, will use them as the surrogates to produce their babies. Okay. So this is what we do in multiple ovulation. Why we call it as multiple ovulation? Because number of eggs are ovulating here, right? How many eggs? Around 6 to 8 eggs are ovulating in one go, right? Embryo transfer. Now you will produce the embryo out of it and transfer it into the surrogate cow. So this is what we do in MOET. And MOET can be performed in number of animals. What other animals? We can perform MOET in number of animals. Okay, let me write it here only. We can produce it on the horse, that means female horse, obviously mares. We can produce it on the sheep. We can also produce it, we can also perform this, not produce it, I'm so sorry. We can also perform this technique on the rabbits. Yes, we can also perform the techniques on the rabbits. Obviously, we can perform it on the cattle as we have already discussed. So these are some of the animals on which we can perform this technique, that is MOET. And it's also easier because artificial things are involved. We don't need a bull and cow mating each other, and you never know the possibility whether they will get the good they will produce the good progeny or not. Okay, but here we will be choosing the desirable sperm of our choice, which is good one. Fine. And then there will be the egg of a high quality cow, and they will produce zygote, embryo, and then will transfer into the surrogate. Okay, that's the MOET, multiple ovulation embryo transfer. Let's solve one question. Choose the option which has correct statement with respect to MOET. In this technique, FSH induces follicular maturation and superovulation. The fertilized eggs at 8 to 32 cell stage are recovered non-surgically and transferred to surrogate mother. High yielding breeds of female and high quality meat yielding bulls have been bred successfully. So last is, it is controlled breeding experiment. So all statements are correct. So 4. Because first says yes, we give the shot of FSH. Yes, that's true. Next, we also recover the 8 to 32 cell stage embryo non-surgically. We don't produce any operation. We are not making any cuts. We just directly, with the help of syringes, you are taking the embryos out, right? And then high yielding female and the good quality bull are mated. And here it is a controlled breeding experiment. We all know it's a controlled breeding experiment. So that's all statement are correct. So answer is 4. Next, let's talk about apiculture. Now what is apiculture? Apiculture is rearing of honeybees. Rearing of honeybees. Okay. Rearing of honeybees, that's apiculture. So now why do we want honeybees first of all, and what's the scientific name of honeybee? The most common honeybee in India is Apis indica. Most common in India is Apis indica. Apart from that, there are also some important honeybees that we take from another countries, right? Like we have Apis mellifera. Apis mellifera is very good quality honeybee and high yielding honeybee. In fact, it has been taken from the Europe. Which area of Europe? Italy, right? It's Italian or European bee. So apart from that, we also have some other honeybees like Apis florea, the little bee. You must have seen this hovering over the flowers, very little flowers, and it's also of a very small size, right? And then we have Apis dorsata. This is the most angry bee, the largest bee, rock bee. You will see this in the mountain areas, and it's beehive. You know what is beehive? The houses of honeybee. So their beehive is the largest one and they are the most yielding one. But since they are the very angry one, you can't rear them. So in India, the most commonly reared is Apis indica. Fine. Moving further. So what or why do we rear honeybee? Why are we doing apiculture? First benefit, to have product, and the product is honey. Second, to have bee wax. Third, for pollination. For pollination. Whenever you are, whenever you are traveling around one place to another, and usually you come across villages and farms and fields, you must have noticed there are white color boxes that are present on the edge of the roads in the fields, right? What are these white color boxes? Have you ever noticed them? These are basically artificial beehives. They are usually kept in the fields of like sunflower or any fields that in which plant produces flowers. So you put those beehives there. First of all, wherever there is a flower, bee will be there. So both are getting benefited. One, bee will take the pollen from the flower and make honey out of it, and you can also get that honey from the artificial beehives. Second, because bee hives are there, bees will be there, your flowers can get pollinated, they can get fertilized, and you can get your products. Okay, so for these main purposes, we rear honeybee. Honey, what are the uses of honey? Honey is a sweetener. You also use it as a sweetener. It's also laxative, and it is also used in drugs. Okay, what is a laxative? Laxative is something which prevents constipation, and it is also used in the drugs in Ayurveds, right? In Ayurvedic medicine, the honey is considered as a topmost thing, right? A lot of medicines, they are dissolved in the honey. Next we have is bee wax. What is a bee wax? Honey bee's abdominal gland produces wax, and this wax helps to seal the beehive. Usually, why honeybee is producing a wax? What's the need? Honeybee doesn't want to make candles, right? The wax has a benefit that it will cover the cells of the beehive. You must have seen beehive. The cells of a beehive are hexagonal. So she will store honey in these cells and then seal it with the wax. Seal it with the wax. So that's why honeybee needs wax for that. But what is your benefit from that wax? We use this bee wax for cosmetics and to make candles. Yes, so we are using this. But why honeybee is producing? For sealing the beehive. Next, for pollination, that I've told you, it helps to pollinate the flowers of various plants. Now the thing is, who is present in the family of honeybees? Let's study the members of the honeybees family. The first member are the male member, that are drones. Second member are the worker bees, the females, and the queen. There is no king. Okay. The drones, they are haploid, whereas worker bee and queen, they are diploid and they are female. They both are female. Whereas drones, they are the male member. Now, why are they haploid? Because they are formed directly from egg. They are not formed via fertilization. Usually how organisms are formed? When egg and sperm they meet. No, but in this case, the males are produced directly from the eggs. They are formed directly from the eggs, and this technique is known as parthenogenesis. Right? So these drones, they are unfertilized. They are formed directly from the egg, and this technique is not fertilization, this is parthenogenesis. Whereas these are diploid, they have been formed from fertilization, and these two, this queen is also formed after fertilization. If this is also diploid female, then why she is the queen? The reason is because queen is fertile, whereas these, they are sterile, they cannot produce eggs, and the queen, she can produce eggs. Why now? How queen can produce egg and the worker bee doesn't? Both are diploid, both have been produced from fertilization, both are female. When the eggs of females are getting developed, now one female is fed with a new food, a superior food, which is royal jelly. The female egg, or we can say the female larva, okay, better say larva, not egg. The female larva which is developing and has been fed on the royal jelly, that will later on becomes the queen. The other females who have not been fed on the royal jelly will not become queen. So queens, they are fed on royal jelly. So that's why they are fertile. Their ovaries, they developed better. Fine. Now the male, what is their role in the colony of honeybees? Their role is just one. They fertilize the queen and they die. They fertilize the queen and die. So that's why their lifespan is very short. They live for around 57 days only, right? So they live for around, their lifespan is very short. They live for around 57 days. Whereas worker bee, their lifespan is 3 to 4 months. And you must have heard of a phrase, busy like a bee. So that phrase is for worker bee, because worker bees are the one that perform all the functions in the beehive. They act as a nurse. They are nurse bees. They are protective and they go for food search. They are scout bees. So basically they are nurse bees because they take care and feed developing larvas. Whatever babies the queen is producing, they have been taken care by the nurse bees. They are also scout bees. Why? They search for food. They search for food. They go outside and they search for the food. They produce honey. They produce wax, right? And they produce honey and wax. Honey is produced from the nectar and pollen of your flower. Honey is basically produced from nectar plus pollen of the flower. Okay. Talking about the queen, the sole purpose is to take rest, eat healthy and produce eggs. This is the only work of the queen, and queen live for around 2 to 3 years. Queen lives for around 2 to 3 years. So this is how all these members are living with the harmony, doing what they are supposed to do, and this is how they are living in the beehive and making their life possible. Okay, and yes, bees are very smart. Yes, bees are very smart. They search the food on the direction of the sunlight, or the direction of the sun, basically, not the sunlight, right? So they are very smart members of our society. Anyways, let's read the paragraphs of NCERT. Beekeeping or apiculture is the maintenance of hives of honeybee for the production of honey. So what we do, we rear honeybee, and in the beehive we maintain them and we take out the honey from them. It has been an age-old cottage industry. So we are doing this from like time immemorial. Honey is a food of high nutritive value and also find use in the indigenous system of medicine. So because honey is very good, because it has high nutrition, it's rich in vitamin B's, and not B's, vitamin B, right? And that's why it's used in indigenous medicine. Indigenous medicine means local medicine, like Ayurveda. Honey bee also produce bee wax, which finds many use in industry, such as the preparation of cosmetics, polishes of various kind. So bee wax is used for many purposes. One is cosmetic, another is candle. Also we make polishes to polish our furniture. Okay. The increased demand of honeybee has led to a large-scale beekeeping practices. It has become an established income-generating industry, whether practiced on a small or a large scale. So this is a kind of an industry which can be at a larger scale also, and smaller scale also. If you're a beginner, you can have this at a small scale. If you have your fields, put the artificial beehives there, and you can sell the product locally to the people. Or if you want it at the larger scale, you can have a number of beehives, have a factories, clarify the honey, and do everything and sell it on the international level also. So anything can happen, okay? Because everyone needs honey nowadays. Beekeeping can be practiced in any area where there are sufficient bee pasture for some wild shrubs, fruit, orchids, and cultivated crop. So now where should we put the beehive? Where there are wild shrubs, fruit, orchids, and cultivated crop. They love fruits, they love apple, they love pear, right? There are several species of honeybee which can be reared. Of these, the most common species is Apis indica. As we have done, there are a number of species, but the most common is this one in India. Beehives can be kept in one's courtyard, on the veranda of the house, or even on the roof. Beekeeping is not a labor intensive. So you can even put the beehives in your house if you have a extra space in the house. It's not like a room, it's like the open space in the house. But be very careful, because bees can sting also, okay? And it's not a labor intensive industry. That means you don't need a lot of people and workers there. You just need one or two person, right? One that knows how to extract the honey or honeybee, and the other one that can distribute into the market. You don't need a lot of people for that. If you're doing it on the large scale, that definitely you'll be needing a lot of workers. Beekeeping, though relatively easy, does require some specialized knowledge, and there are several organizations that teach beekeeping. As I've told you, if you want to start this business at a small scale, so you should know some things. Like I've told you, if you have extra space in the house, doesn't mean that extra space is your room. You can't have a beehive in the room, right? So before starting anything in life, definitely you should know about those things. You should have a knowledge of that business, okay? So what knowledge definitely you should have? First, knowledge of the nature and habit of the bee. Imagine you hear from someone, you should rear Apis dorsata, because Apis dorsata make big beehive and there is a large honey. But because of lack of knowledge, you don't know the dorsata is the angry bee, and it can sting very easily. You know, if the bee is very angry, you can't deal with them, because you have to take their honey out. They will just bite you everywhere and you'll die, right? So knowledge of bee is very important. And second thing, selection of location. Now where you want to put them. If you're putting them into the area where there are no flowers, no crops, no plants, it's useless. You will not see large amount of honey in the beehive. But if you put it in a field where you also have planted a crop that's on a flowering thing, right? So you can have a large amount of honey, because flowers are there, honey is there, everything is there. Catching and hiving of swarm. Now, You did it everything, you put beehive, you have flowers, but now you are afraid of bees, you don't know how to take the honey out of it. So you should also have a proper practice of it, what clothes to wear and what not to wear. Management of beehives during different season. Now at which season apple flowering occur, apple fruits flowering occur, that should also be your knowledge. For example, you had your field, you had some crops, and the flowering season went away, there will be no flowering in this season, and now you put the beehive, that also will be useless. So seasonal things should also be taken in mind when your plant is going to flower, right? Then we have handling and collection of honey and bee wax. Now you have taken the product out of it, but you don't know how to store it, and everything got wasted. That's also the waste of business. So you should also know how to store honey, how to pack it, where to sell it, and how to sell it. Okay, so bees are the pollinator of many of our crop species such as sunflower, brassica, that means mustard, apple and pear are the favorite one. Okay, keeping beehives in crop fields during flowering period increases pollination efficiency and increase the yield benefit both from the point of crop yield and honey yield. As I've told you, if you put it in the field, your flowers will also get pollinated, you will have good yield in the crop also, and also honey will produce a lot of, honeybee will produce a lot of honey. So both ways you are benefited. Okay, so you can do this business also if you don't want to be a doctor or something. All right, so next business is of aquaculture. So what is aquaculture now? Aquaculture is rearing of aquatic organism. Now if I'm using the word organism, that means I'm talking about both plants and animals. So plants and animals both. So why, ma'am, plants? Do we eat aquatic plants? Yes, lotus is an aquatic plant. So aquaculture comprises of everything. You're also growing aquatic plants, you're also growing animals. Many countries eat weed. Yes, Japanese eat nori sheets, that's a kind of a weed. So yes, they also cultivate it, fine. Or they can also capture it from the sea and so. Anyways, so rearing of aquatic organism, both plants and animals, is aquaculture. Whereas there is another one thing you must have heard of, fisheries. In fisheries, we culture and capture aquatic animals. Now these aquatic animals can be anything. It can be your fishes, it can be your crabs, it can be lobsters, it can be prawns, it can be shrimps, it can be your oysters, it can be octopus. Yes, people also eat octopus. Okay, so the culture and capture, that means capturing means you go to sea and capture these organisms, that includes in the fisheries. Whereas pisciculture, pisci word is always used for Pisces, Pisces means fishes. In this one you culture only fishes, nothing else. Okay, so it's a very vast industry, it's a large industry, I tell you. The aquaculture is a very large industry. A lot of improvements have taken place in this industry year after year and lead to the blue revolution, just like green revolution in the plants. So blue revolution is related with the aquaculture. Okay, so now what type of fish you want to rear, which area have better quality of fish, or for example if you're living near the water body, large water body, like you're living in coastal areas, so in that particular area one type of fish can be easily captured, right? You can also rear them, you can also culture them, and depending upon the preferences of people love to eat like salmon, so salmons are grown more just like that. Okay, so how do you rear these fishes? Let's see. So first of all, we put these breeding happas. These are sticks you see, and these are nets you see. In these breeding happas, you throw two organisms, and what are those organisms? The male and the female. The male and the female fish. Sometimes they are injected also with the FSH so that they produce more number of gametes, and they will fertilize, right? What do you do basically? You basically keep these fishes, the male and the female one, so that they can produce eggs here. They produce eggs here. Now these eggs or sperms there, and they will get fertilized. And they will get fertilized. So fertilized eggs are then shifted to glass jars. So glass jars are like incubators. So these contains what? These contains fertilized eggs, and these fertilized eggs, they will hatch further, right? So that's why you also call them as hatcheries. What do you call them as? You also call them as hatcheries. Okay, now after they hatch, they will become small fishes known as fish fries. They will known as small fishes known as fish fries, and fish fries do not feed, they have no mouth. Now these fish fries are shifted to another ponds, the larger one. They are the nursery ponds, larger than the glass jars obviously. They are known as nursery ponds. In nursery ponds, the fish fries which you have taken out from these jars, they gets converted into fingerlings. Fingerlings are very small fishes with mouth. They have mouth, and now they can feed. Now they will be transferred into the another pond known as rearing pond, where the fingerlings gets converted into adults. They will hatch into adults. Now these adult from rearing ponds will be shifted to another pond, the larger one known as stocking pond. And from this pond, once the adults are fully mature, they are captured, others are sold, and some good quality fishes, they are selected and put back into the breeding harpas for the next round. So from breeding harpa, you put them into glass jar. In glass jar, the fertilized eggs get hatched into fish fries. Fish fries are sent to the nursery ponds. In nursery ponds, they convert into fingerlings, and then into the rearing pond, where they are getting into the bigger size fish, which are then sent into the stocking ponds. Stocking ponds are large pond. From there, when they get into the full size, you collect them, sell into the market, or put them back. The few of them should be put them back to the breeding harpa for the next round of breeding, right? So this is what you do in the agriculture. This is how you breed the fishes, and these fishes are then go to the kitchens of people, and you make wonderful cuisine, you eat and you be happy, right? So that's how the pisciculture is done. Let's read NCERT. Fishery is an industry devoted to the catching, processing or selling of fish, shellfish or other aquatic animals. So what comes in fishery? Capture and culture both of all the aquatic organisms. Okay, it can be anything. It can be oysters, it can be or octopus or any organism, right? Anything that people feed on. A large number of our population is dependent on fish products and other aquatic animals such as prawn, crab, lobster, edible oyster, etc. for food. So definitely the most selling product in India is a fish. Apart from that, people also eat lobster, crabs and so as a seafood. Okay, but being a part of your cuisines and food, fishes are also extracted. They are also cultured to extract their products, such as fish oil, you must have heard of, right? And some fish's skin are used to make a lot of varnishes and a lot of products like that. Some of the freshwater fishes which are very common include, so what are freshwater fishes which are common in India? Katla, rohu and common carp. And the marine ones are hilsa, sardine, mackerel and pomfret. Please learn these organisms, because you must have learned these in the animal kingdom as well, right, of the 11th class. Find out what fishes are commonly eaten in your area. So wheresoever you live, tell me what is the most favorite fish you have. Fisheries has an important place in Indian economy. It provides income and employment to millions of fishermen and farmers, particularly in the coastal state. So whatever coastal state, like we have Goa, right? In Goa, seafood is so much there. People are associated with this industry. So every day someone is getting an employment out of this industry. See, right? So that's a big deal. For many, it is the only source of their livelihood, and some fishermen who work at a smaller scale, this is the only source of income for them by which they, eat their bread. In order to meet the increasing demands on fisheries, different techniques have been employed to improve production. Because if the demand is more, definitely you will improve the techniques so that the production should be more. So like we have incubators where we hatch the fishes to make sure eggs do not get wasted. So this is one technique that has been applied in the pisciculture. So every time, every day, a lot of researchers, scientists are working on the fisheries so that they can produce or they can get with some techniques by which you can get better quality of fish. Less toxic fish is also one thing that we need today. For example, through aquaculture and pisciculture, we have been able to increase the production of aquatic plants and animal, both freshwater and marine. Find out the difference between pisciculture and aquaculture. Now you know pisciculture is the rearing of fishes and aquaculture includes both plants and animals. This has led to the development and flourishing of the fishery industry, and it has brought a lot of income to the farmers in particular and the country in general. Imagine we have not been doing any pisciculture and aquaculture. We all should be, we would have been dependent on just the capture of the fishes. Then the production, or you can say the demand, not the production, the demand should never have been met. Why? People who want to eat fish are a lot, but how much can you capture from the normal natural water bodies? It's few. But if you are rearing them artificially in the breeding harbours and ponds, you can meet the demand of the fishes to every person who want it. Okay, so this is what it said, that this led to the development and flourishing of the fishery industry, and it has brought a lot of income to the farmers in particular and the country in general. We now talk about blue revolution as being implemented along the same line as green revolution. Just like we had green revolution for plants, we have blue revolution for the fishes. Okay. Alright, so that's about the aquaculture, and here we have successfully completed the entire syllabus of class 12th. Yes, so this was a very little chapter, and the weightage in NEET is around one question. Sometimes even they don't ask from the zoology part. So here your Diksha ma'am has completed the syllabus successfully, and I want that all of you should follow some patterns to get success in the subject of zoology. Let me tell you, I have also mentioned this in the English YouTube channel also. I have certain videos posted there that how can you learn biology nicely. But one thing, if you want to score better in CBSE or your boards or your NEET, just follow this pattern. Learn notes, read NCERT, and solve question. Just follow this thing, and in questions PYQs are must. Just follow these 3 steps if you really want to get good score in any of the exam. And whether it's your board exam, if it's board exam, try to practice some questions which are theory based questions, right? I also have some videos posted on the theory based question in the same YouTube channel. You can just go and scroll them down. Maybe they are like previous years, right? And so you can just check it out. Okay, so everything is there. I have taught you everything. Now it's your time to put little of your effort and keep on working hard and hard and hard, and we will bring a lot of some exciting things for you on this channel. Again, it's not just the completion of the everything, it's a completion of just 12th zoology syllabus. I hope other classes are going on along with this, so I'll be there. We'll keep on meeting you with the other things that will bring for you. But the only thing that we need is your determination and your little hard work. And this was your Diksha ma'am teaching you zoology of 12th class. Bye bye, take care.